Welcome to the Traveling Golfer. Do you like golf? Do you like to travel? I know what you're thinking. I'm not going to travel for a long time. That's not true. Wait until we show you how you can hit the links within a drive away. It still feels safe, and that's what we're doing right now as we head into this season. I'm Mike. There's the Traveling Golfer right there, Claudio DeMarchi. Hi, buddy.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. And we're going to hit the links in style moving forward, aren't we?
Yeah, I do believe so. It looks to me like, well, first of all, today we're going to have a chat about how your game improved so dramatically, and it's a great vehicle for us to talk about equipment today. So if that's on your mind as you're starting to gear up for the golf season that is seasonal for you, if you're in that realm like us, we've got some tips and pretty good guest with us today to get you primed for that. Of course, later on in the show, we're going to talk a little bit about wine. We're talking wine today, right?
Wine not?
Why not? Because we just should anyway. Oh, wait a minute. Why not?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not talk about wine?
Exactly. I've always said that. It's something that I've maintained my whole life as a broadcaster. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. And there is an amazing resource of great photos, amazing videos, the wine reviews that we talk about here on a regular basis. Go to thetravelinggolfer.net and you'll find all of Claudio's amazing work there, if you can call what he does work. It's unbelievable to me that he calls this a living, but it's delightful too.
Somebody has to do it.
You really have the life of a prince.
We provide quality control for not only golf clubs, but wine that we drink.
It's a tough job. Somebody does have to do it. And I've said this before, I hate to throw the word hero around, Claudio, but you might just be one.
It's not that we're going to just abandon the travel component of our show altogether.
Nope.
Because our special guest also has a product that helps us get our precious tools to wherever we're going in the form of travel covers for getting on airplanes,
nice.
Which we will do again.
Of course we will. People are doing it again already. So yeah, get your golf season together. Get your plan together, whether it's a road trip or you're going to head off to someplace in North America on a plane. You can start to make those plans now. It's good for the economy. It's good for everybody. It's good for your soul. And of course, it's good for your game. Today we're talking equipment.
We are a little bit of equipment.
Now
we're going to talk about my favorite golf club company.
Oh, I didn't know that. Look at you leaning in on your faves. Now, you and I have talked about this, and we talk about your game all the time because you're an incredible golfer, and I think you have been for many years. Although we get talking recently, and you're like, well, my game's really come into focus in the last couple of years in a big way, and you didn't really attribute that to more focus, to any education or anything like that. You actually put it right down to the equipment that you're using.
Well, for a long time, I've always thought when I play golf or when anybody plays golf, there's a phrase that I like to use. If you don't have a swing, it don't mean a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time when I did take lessons, and I have to thank Todd Kierstead. If you're listening, Todd,
hey, Todd.
Thank you.
He's outstanding. Todd is the guy that does all the trick shots and everything. I know Todd really well. He's a hey, Todd, shout out, buddy.
Yep. So I owe it all to him. And the other thing that I like to do is I like to watch old videos of Annika Sorenstam, believe it or not, because she had the easiest, such a great flowing swing.
What a flow, yeah.
And so, that's what I attribute my headspace to as far as playing golf. But then in the last couple of years, and I've been with Tour Edge now for at least, I'm going to say 8 or 10 years. And it's kind of interesting how that happened. I played golf with my good friend, and let's bring him into the scene right now. Don Heazel is here with us.
Hi, Don.
Don's the president of Golf Trends, which is a company that's been around in the Canadian golf distribution of all kinds of products for almost 30 years now. And they are the distributors of Tour Edge as well as Bag Boy, which is the travel covers, and they have a few other interesting products that are widely accepted by golfers. but sunglasses and an interesting pitch fix tool that is now making some headway in the world of COVID golf.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll let him tell us a little bit more about that. But I want to tell you just how we got together as far as Tour Edge goes, because
okay, listeners, prepare for an edit. Here we go.
It's kind of interesting. We played out at Piper's Heath years and years and years ago, and I was just about to go up to the Arctic for my second time to play some golf and play in a big tournament in the most northern golf course in the world. And before I left and playing at Piper's, Don said, "Do you want to try one of my new clubs? We just got these new Tour Edge in, and we're on a par 3, and I borrowed his 8-iron and hit it to 2 feet, and then went up to the Arctic. Came back from the Arctic, didn't have any golf clubs, because I raffled them off to all the junior golfers that were up there. I think they were Callaways at the time. And so I get back, and I'm at my computer at home on a Saturday, and my little pop-up notice says that I'm playing in a golf tournament on Tuesday.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going, uh-oh.
Hi,
right.
Don.
so I called Don. I said, "Don, do you remember you said if I ever wanted to try these clubs that you could make it happen?" And I said, "I need to try your clubs."
Out a specific date upcoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to pick them up on Monday. And so I go to Don's office, and I walk in the door and expecting to borrow some clubs or whatever. But no, there was a whole bunch of new unwrapped clubs and everything else. And he says, "They're yours."
Good God. Let me just check. I just want to go check the green room. I'm pretty sure Don brought me clubs. I'll be right back. No, that's not happening. Thanks for joining us in studio, bud. It's so nice to see you.
Thanks for having me here, Mike.
So now this is compared to some of the brands out there distributing Tour Edge, it must have been a little bit of a challenge out of the gate with so many established brands out there. Doesn't matter how good the quality was. What was that like in the early days of bringing this product to the market?
Well, it was definitely a challenge. The reason we decided to go with Tour Edge when they approached us was because we really believed in the quality of the product. We knew how well it was made, how well it performed. But their price points were right up there with the major brand names.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convince people when you don't have a lot of advertising that your product is as good as somebody else's or better.
Yeah.
And we had our reps go to demo days, and players would try our clubs and maybe hit them better than anything else on the range, and then they would go and buy the competitor's product.
I wondered that.
Oh, that happened quite often. It's not happening nearly as much now, but I think people just want their friends to see them playing what they see on TV rather than an unknown name. But the really good players, the people that we found were playing Tour Edge at the time, were golf pros and top amateurs who knew about the product.
Yep.
They would read about the product online, see what's in the players' bags. And so we knew we had a really good product, but it's how do you get it to market? And that's been a challenge, but we're getting there.
It's so funny. Christmas came around about 5 years ago. My wife said, "What do you want?" I said, "Golf club." She said, "What kind?" I said, "Go to my brother-in-law, Darren. We've talked about. He's an insanely great golfer, and he's been doing it as scratch golfer since he was a kid. Go to him, ask him what to get." So on Christmas morning, I unwrap some Tour Edge clubs, and I said to my wife, and I quote, "What the hell are these?" She said, "Well, I don't know. Darren said they're the best clubs on the market, that you'll get the best game of your life." And sure enough, I wouldn't trade them for anything available in golfing today. They are really, really nicely built. And I've had them for some time now, and they're like brand new. And it's amazing how they've held up. Even the grips, the weight, it was remarkable how tailored they felt just to my swing right away.
Yeah, they are an amazing golf club. When we first got involved, it was just after they introduced the first exotics, I think it was the CB23 wood, which made big waves on the tour. Players were hitting it 10 to 20 yards further. And
This driver can't be legal.
well, actually, a lot of people were hitting the 3-wood as far as their driver or close to it. And we had just picked up the line, and that product was no longer in the line. It was, they'd moved on to the next model. But everybody was asking for that model. And we found out that in our market, a lot of Canadian professionals and better amateurs already had a club. They had a CB2. And when we tried to encourage them to offer the clubs in their pro shops, they weren't too keen because they thought it'd be a hard sale. But they were playing with the club themselves.
Wow.
So it's,
That's tough.
Well,
it is tough, but you've got a good product. I don't
Yeah.
want to be working really hard to sell something that isn't good.
That makes sense. Yeah. Better to put
And-
the effort behind a good product.
I've been playing the clubs for a long time and have been a follower and supporter. And, it's hard to understand why a lot of even some of the tour players, they may have, some head cover on the club that isn't really
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be or
No.
what it's leading on to be.
That is so funny that they're actually pulling a tour edge out with a cover of another club on it, which is a possibility, I guess, and also stupid. But that's funny how the pressure of the brand can be.
Well, and the contracts they sign, right?
Yeah.
They're allowed to use certain clubs that aren't the clubs that they've signed on to, but they can't advertise it, basically.
Right.
And, it was good for Tour Edge to have so much exposure on the tour, but it was also bad because the number one player in the world, probably around 2005, 2006, was playing a Tour Edge 3-wood, but they couldn't advertise it. So you've got lots of players playing your club, but it's still a big secret.
And that reflects on people buying clubs because they, tend to lean towards, well, if Phil's playing that or Tiger's playing this, then that's what I'm going to play because I'm just as good, right?
But
Wrong.
it's amazing that people think that way, but we do. I mean that, or we wouldn't be out there advertising. But at the same time, what I said off the top stands. There's a lot of gimmick out there in golf product, and when you find something good, you become loyal to it. I don't think that I would ever buy a different set of golf clubs before trying Tour Edge first. And now there's an even wider range of products that you guys have to offer.
Yeah, they pretty much offer. I mean, their bread and butter when they started was value quality clubs that are at a reasonable value. And today they sell a lot of junior clubs, beginner sets, ironwoods, which they've sold over 1 million ironwoods, which is a type of hybrid that comes from a number 2 through a lob wedge.
Women's packages.
Yeah, men's and women's packages. They have the Hot Launch series, which is a really good value custom fit club. And then the exotics, the top, very top, best technology. So, and since 2018, there have been 70 players on tour that have used 500 Tour Edge clubs. And there have been, I believe, 20 victories for players, or 21 victories for players using at least one Tour Edge club in their bag.
Awesome.
So, I mean, they're starting to get known.
Yeah.
They have some ambassadors. They have 4 ambassadors on the Champions Tour. And they've been advertising on the Golf Channel quite a bit in the last 2 years. And all of a sudden now we go to, say, the Toronto Golf Show, and people don't say, who's Tour Edge? They want to hit the product.
Right.
Whereas prior to that, it was a struggle because people they might hit it and they might like it, but they didn't know. To them, it was a no-name brand.
But you're right. The insiders were all, I mean, like my brother-in-law. I mean, he was early to the game on this because he knew that, having tested them and checked out the quality, you know what, I'm not going to recommend a more expensive, lesser quality was his theory on this. That lends itself to that kind of personal endorsement. You can't buy advertising like a good golfer saying, hey, you should try these clubs.
That's right. But now And Don just mentioned it. We've got a few players that are on the Champions Tour, and Tim Petrovic was the first of the, I guess maybe he wasn't the most well-known PGA Tour player, but he was a player for sure. And then Duffy Waldorf and Tom Lehman and Scott McCarron became staff players. And Scott McCarron actually was the top player on the Champions Tour last year. Yeah. So he's really put the name out there.
Yeah, he's been a big boost to the brand. You know, it's funny you talk about you wouldn't play any other club, and I was, prior to being contacted by Tour Edge to be their distributor in Canada, I was down in Florida at the PGA show, and I was playing in an event for a spike manufacturer, and we just happened to be paired with their rep from the New England area. And he was a fairly good player, but he was using rental clubs because this was the only round he was going to play. And he kept saying, "Oh, I wish I had my Tour Edge exotics. I should have brought them down. I don't know why I didn't." And I thought, Tour Edge, I mean, to me, that's a sort of middle-range club line. I didn't know anything about it, really. And about 2 months later, they contacted us. Their distributor that was carrying the product, for whatever reason, wasn't going to continue to carry it. And so we went down to Chicago and we worked out a deal. And then I tried the clubs. And then I could understand why he was in love with his exotics, especially the fairway woods. They were unbelievable back then. And now, you know, pretty much the whole line is like that.
And we have David Glaude to thank. David is the master club maker. Is that what we call David?
Well, he's certainly one of the top club designers in golf today, for sure. And he just keeps getting better and better, in my opinion. They just came out with the EXS 220. And I'm not much of a driver of the ball. I'm afraid of the driver. But in Florida this year, I tried the EXS 220, and I hit some drives I haven't hit in years. And I really just tried to swing. I didn't try and hit it. When I try and hit it, it doesn't go very well.
I know that feeling.
But
that's my game right there, Claudio. I'm going to try. I'm going to focus. Oh, boy. There we go.
It's almost
slice.
Yeah.
But I was talking to their executive vice president, and he was telling me that they had always made a good driver, but it was geared more towards the better player, and you had to hit it more in the sweet spot. And this is the first driver that they've really tried to expand the sweet spot. And for a player like myself, it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
The good players can still play it. I played with a scratch golfer about a week ago, and he was hitting the driver perfectly. But, you know, he can hit almost anything. For a player like myself, there's a big advantage. So.
Yeah. That honestly, it changes the enjoyment level of the game for me if I can. If the sweet spot's slightly expanded, at least, so that I can get somewhere in the game up against my buddies who are really good golfers. But yeah, and I think that's what I liked about the set in its entirety. It did make me play better. For whatever reason, it just has the ability, even the grip system on it, that came standard on the club. It's better than any grip I've ever used. So, yeah, I can see it being a mid-range golfer like myself or lower end. It's a really enjoyable club to have in your bag.
Yep.
Yeah, and something they did this year that I think was a good move, and it just, with COVID-19 and people probably being a little leery about testing out clubs, they tested their drivers with various shafts. And so if you're say you need a senior shaft, well, they recommend one type of shaft. If you're a regular, you hit regular flex, it's a different brand of shaft. And if you're a player that requires stiff flex, it's another brand of shaft. So they didn't just go with one line of shafts and say, okay, here's the senior, here's the regular, here's the stiff. They tested them out and said, if your swing speed is, say, 80 to 90, this is the shaft we recommend for this club with our testing, it's the one that works.
So you don't have to get there and put your hands on all kinds of clubs trying them out.
I mean, you can still do that,
But-
but I think most people would be very satisfied with what they recommend because they've done all the testing.
I was going to say they know better than anybody probably
Yeah,
what
exactly.
what a golfer is going to do with that club in their hand.
Well, here's my story that just kind of fits right with what we're talking about, because a few years ago, Tour Edge came out with the Hot Launch 3 product, which was supposed to be, below their Primo line. And I ended up with one of these in my bag at the PGA show in Orlando. And it was like love at first swing. I actually slept with the club that night.
That's a lot of info.
And
Sometimes we get more info than we need.
so here we are to last Friday. I ended up playing my first round of golf, and I hit every fairway.
Yes.
that day. But
Best game of his season, by the way.
I I used two drivers. I used the Hot Launch 3 on the front 9,
Yeah.
and then on the back 9, I used the EXS, which is last year's driver.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been going back and forth all year last year trying to figure out which one I wanted to play with, because I never thought I'd leave the HL3 or the Hot Launch 3. But Don's company put the same shaft in it.
Oh.
So now I could say it doesn't matter.
6 of 1, half dozen.
I can
Oh,
play,
that's incredible.
So that's, the product is amazing. And that Hot Launch whole line is unbelievable. As far as, like, for me, the added length that the Hot Launch 3 gave me, changed my whole game as far as, my scoring ability and even confidence. And that goes right down through the woods, the hybrids, and the irons.
My hardest part of the game is right off the tees right now because I just don't have the confidence necessarily I need in every swing. And I don't know if that's because my grip has changed up or whatever's happened. I'm just turning into an older guy. But I know now a club will make the difference at the tee box for me, I think. We'll certainly find out this summer. But it's incredible to me that you they're interchangeable to you now, that this high-end series has been matched by the Hot Launch.
It doesn't seem to matter what they put in my hand as long as it's got a regular shaft in it. The new 3-wood, got that in January at the media day, and just took the other one, even though I loved it, right out of the bag.
Wow.
But even in the irons last year, went from my older exotics, can't remember what year those were from, but we went to the EXS and immediately took out my 5-iron out of the bag and just had a 6-iron and up, and because I added 7 to 10 yards on every club.
Okay, let's get away from the clubs for a second and talk about some of the other product that you've got available out there. I think that we were talking covers, for travel covers and stuff like that. Kind of a big deal, especially if you love your clubs, to have the right protection on them for travel, and even if that means throwing it in the back of the camper or the car at the moment. What do you have in that regard?
Well, we represent the company Bag Boy, and they've been a leader in travel covers since we took on the line, I would think, or early in the 2000s. Right now, they have, and I can't remember the name of it. This is awful, but they have a new travel cover that has Freestyle. Thank you, Claudia.
That's why we're here as a family. Somebody's always got it.
But the beauty of the Freestyle is that it has 6 wheels, 4 of which are revolving 360 degrees. So you can have it standing upright and shuffle along in the lineup. But if you have to go a long distance, you tilt it on its side, and it has 2 straight line wheels that you can, go a distance. So
that makes a huge difference right there.
And the other thing is it's got hard sides which collapse down. So it becomes, I think it's 16 inches by 14 inches by 14 inches when it's collapsed. So when you get to your destination, it's not taking up a lot of room in your vehicle.
Yeah.
So that is their premier product. We also have the T10, which is a hard-sided top and a softer-sided bottom.
It's one of my favorites.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a patented product for bag boy, and it's very popular. If you're concerned about damage to your clubs, it's as good as they come. And then probably our best seller is the T750, which is a very well padded travel cover. Has all the features you'd want in a travel cover, but at a reasonable price point. I mean, they're all reasonable, but it's a matter of, this would be, I don't know, $120, something in that range. So it's, you're not.
As long as it's comfortable, because I pack my kids in a golf bag to save on airfare. I don't want them to be uncomfortable.
You can you can ship them with ship sticks.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't ask a lot of questions? Okay. The other
Not if you're Danica Patrick, yes.
Exactly. One of the other things that I noticed that was on your topic list, and sorry guys if I've gone off the map, I'm just interested in all these things. When I hit the course, I have gorgeous blue eyes, sometimes bloodshot, but it have quite the effect on the golf course with direct ray sunlight. And I've tried a lot of sunglasses. I find that a lot of the polarized stuff that I'm using in the market right now, I have a pair of Maui Jims. They seem almost impossible to use on the golf course for me. One of the things that I noticed that you have along with you today are the Vigor sunglasses. What cuts these apart on the course?
Well, we were introduced to the owner of Vigor 2 years ago. His name is Jack Owen. He's been in the eyewear business for 30, 35 years, represented some big lines in eyewear. And he decided to create his own line. He wanted a pair of sunglasses you would wear for active sports and for golf. He's an avid golfer. And so he put all the elements in a sunglass that he would want for himself. And so you've got 360-degree sun protection, eye protection from the sun. He's come up with a lumen lens, which seems better for golf. They make polarized lens and lumen lens. Maybe your Maui Jims are polarized.
They are.
Which are great for boating and fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're not really, most people don't like them for golf. They distort your vision a little bit.
They do, actually. They mess with the horizon for me. I don't know if you've had that experience, Claudia, with other sunglasses, that it can mesh the horizon line with stuff that's a little closer. Polarized makes your eyes take some of that depth out.
Well, I have Vigor glasses, so why would I have that problem?
Captain Exotics has everything golf trends.
That's it.
Gets me every time.
But anyway, Vigor came up with a lens they call a lumen lens, and it's amber, or they also do a pinkish shade, which they find gives you better vision on. It's good for biking and for golf. Mm-hmm. It's good on the trails, and it's good on where there's a lot of grass. It gives you clear vision. You can read your putts better. So Jack, being such an avid golfer, he wanted to wear his own product. He made the best product he could. He's such an avid golfer, he named all the glasses after his favorite golf courses.
Oh.
Yeah, like we've got the Weston, and it goes on and on, all the Spyglass and whatever. But their frames are flexible. They have an adjustable nose piece, so sometimes you don't like when your glasses are too high or too low.
I get that.
They are scratch resistant.
Definitely need that.
Glare anti-glare on the inside of the lens. And they come with a 1-year guarantee on scratching.
Oh, that's good, because I'll scratch them within the first 10 minutes, if it's possible. But it sounds like they're quite resistant.
And what he was trying to do was create a sunglass, a quality sunglass that people weren't afraid to wear under maybe extreme conditions or any conditions, afraid they'll leave them on the golf cart and lose them. And that happened to me. I had a couple of pairs of Maui Jims. I still have a pair, and I really like them for boating and fishing. But when you lose them, it hurts.
Poof.
Well, these retail for $60, and that's still a fair bit of money, but
not in the grand scheme.
You can live with that possibly, whereas $250, well, little different situation.
I've left a pair of Maui Jims behind at on vacation, and the whole way home it ruined the flight home. I was like, but really, what I wanted out of those sunglasses was that protection that stops everything from headaches to allows for better focus in my old guy eyes. And I do find in the course that regular sunglasses are not ideal. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, where can people find out more about these wonderful products?
Well, Golf Trends sells to probably 80% of the golf pro shops across the country. So pretty much any golf shop, if they're not carrying the product, they can get it for you. I can't guarantee that every pro shop carries every product because of their size, they just can't.
But ask for it, guys. Go ahead and ask for
Absolutely.
it. They'll get it in if you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we are dealing with 80% of the shops in Canada, and if we're not dealing with your shop, if they contact us, we'd be more than happy to set them up. So that's not an issue.
Oh, by the way, before we get out of here, one more product, Claudio, that you were talking about. It's very interesting at this time.
Well, especially with COVID situation that we have now, there's so many people that want to walk on the golf course, and Bag Boy has an outstanding selection of push carts to do that. So I think that would be another product that you could find at a golf town or from your local pro.
You're right. These are the times for that sort of thing. And in fact, you know what? Walking the course, I think, is if you can do it, it's just a great thing to do. It kind of puts the game in perspective. So if you don't do that often, maybe just make this part of your regime golfing.
Absolutely. Healthy.
All right. And so ask your local pro shop. For any of the products that we've talked about today, they have the access to get them.
Yes,
if they don't
most
have
of
them
the pro
already.
shops, if they don't carry it, they will get it for you. But we also deal with Golf Town, Nevada Bob's, a lot of the independent golf specialty shops. So pretty much anywhere you buy your golf equipment in Canada, they can get our product for you.
Don, thanks for coming in and talking gear with us. We need to get you in regularly because it's all these accoutrements that can make the difference. In a golfer like you and a golfer like me, it's all style. You know, like I've got the nice glasses, the great bag, the amazing clubs, and I'm laying on my back, kicking my heels in the air if I break 100.
Tools of the trade. It's a good thing to have.
It is indeed. So thanks. We appreciate it, my man.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, before
Thanks, Don.
Before we get out of here, my good friend, why don't we do this? People now are turning to me in my life like I know anything about wine thanks to you. But really, I know nothing about wine. I just listen to you. Let's go into the wine cellar, shall we?
You have access to the travelinggolfer.net. That's why they think you're an expert now.
Oh, because I'm just quoting stuff off my phone that I'm getting on your website.
That's it.
Today, the topic is wine not.
Why not? How about naughty wine?
What is naughty wine?
Well, that's just something I made up on the way here.
Okay.
Well, if you have something that's called ménage à trois,
Yeah, that sounds naughty to me.
well, that could be naughty.
Why are you bringing that up when we have a guest in
I
here?
could bring my Felipe, the ultimate warrior, here, and never mind. But ménage à trois, you must have heard of it.
I have heard of it,
They've
yeah.
had a red that's been out for a long, long time, and I've had it, and it's really good. It's
People rave about it.
Yeah, it's nice, feel good, silky red wine, and got a nice color to it. But I discovered last week the Ménage à Trois Gold Chardonnay,
Oh.
and
What is a gold Chardonnay?
it's silky gold looking when it comes out of the bottle.
Oh,
It
okay.
it's got a great look to it, and it's awesome. Like it would be the closest thing to a great red wine.
Is it a Canadian wine?
No, it's
California. Yeah.
California. They just throw the menage in to make you think it's French or something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's why they're throwing it in there. I think there's other reasons for that.
But, it was like, we can call it decadent. But
Really?
definitely full-bodied, tasty, great aroma.
What are you looking at for a bottle of that?
Again, under $20.
Come on, really?
I'm serious. Yes.
And, okay, is that the only naughty wines they have in their line at the moment? Or do you think they're going to expand this into other grapes as well?
Well, I didn't look that far. I just, for me to pick up a white, I'll try it and then I'll go back afterwards. But this is definitely a go back to.
Oh, duly noted. All right.
Yes. And then I also went back to Australia. I'd stayed away from Australian wines for a long, long time. There was a point where I guess ego got in the way. Their prices went up. And
Well, they were all the rage for some time. Everybody talked about Australian wines ongoing for years. And yeah, it drove the price of those wines up.
it did. And I kind of stayed away from them for a while. And then got together with an old friend not too long ago. Social distancing, of course.
Fair enough.
We didn't share glasses or anything.
All right.
But had a couple of Australian reds that were very, very nice. And again, under $20.
I think of Australian wine, I only think of white wines. Why is that? Do they have more of a history of that than red? I don't know. But to me, that I think of New Zealand white, Zinfandels and things like that. Same with Australia. Maybe that's because that's all the exposure I've had.
Well, New Zealand is definitely, if you're going to get a Pinot Noir that's not from California,
That's where to get it from?
it's like Marlborough area of New Zealand is yes, very well known for their white or for their Pinot.
Pinots.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So now there's your recommendation. Menage a trois is the I can't believe I just had to say that.
Well,
this week's recommendation is Menage a trois.
And then we still have the two from Australia.
Yeah.
One is called Red Knot. It's a cab. And both of these are actually, dark red in color, full body with nice aroma as well. The other one, Johnny Q, $16.95.
All right.
So those are good ones. You can swirl them, sniff them, and sip them.
That's 2 episodes in a row. You've done some cheapo wines for us. That's very cool. Thank you.
Cheapo but good.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll get to some more expensive stuff down the road. We got to drink this stuff first.
We can go Pinot next time and go expensive if you want.
Let's do that. Let's do a fancy show.
Let's do.
We'll get all fancy.
I'll
We'll get our bag boy bag going. We'll put on our Vigor sunglasses and
I'll shave.
don't go too far. It's
right.
fine.
Put
I like
deodorant on.
I like that would be fine. I like you just the way you are. And by the way, you can find out more about my buddy here, the traveling golfer, Claudio DeMarchi, at thetravelinggolfer.net. And please subscribe to this show. Share it with a friend if you love golf and travel, the good things in life. I think that you'll really enjoy this show ongoing. Claudio, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.